Bom dia a todos e a todas. Começo por cumprimentar a Federação Nacional de Educação e a sua direção, na pessoa do seu secretário-geral, o professor João Dias da Silva. Cumprimentar também a Sra. Presidente da Mesa do Congresso e do Conselho Geral, a professora Maria João Cardoso, bem como a mesa da sessão de abertura deste Congresso. Caros convidados e convidadas, caros colegas e companheiros de caminho profissional, saudações fraternas a todos os delegados e delegadas aqui presentes, em nome da Confederação Sindical da Educação dos Países de Língua Portuguesa, CPLP Sindical da Educação. Inicio esta minha intervenção entregando um forte abraço dos mais de 4,5 milhões de associados das organizações membros da CPLP Sindical da Educação, espalhadas por 8 países em 4 continentes. Saudamos e desejamos a todos os participantes neste Congresso o maior dos sucessos nas difíceis responsabilidades que os profissionais da educação depositaram em todos vós, em todos nós. Estou convicto de que a FNE, com a organização e a determinação que se lhe reconhece socialmente na representação dos profissionais da educação, irá seguramente atingir os objetivos a que se propõe. O sucesso e as consequências deste Congresso para o futuro próximo são também o sucesso de cada um de nós e é seguramente também parte do sucesso do nosso futuro coletivo, do futuro das nossas crianças e jovens, do futuro e futuro de todos aqueles que depositam na representação sindical a garantia no desenvolvimento e na consagração de todo um conjunto de direitos a reivindicar, legítimos, justos e inequívocos. Infelizmente, hoje, temos a imperiosa necessidade de sair à rua para exigir algo inimaginável numa sociedade europeia do século XXI, em pleno século XX. Respeito e dignidade. Respeito e dignidade para o desempenho de uma tarefa social fundamental e estratégica para o desenvolvimento de qualquer país que se quer democrático e solidário. Uma maior afirmação política e sindical de uma organização membro da CPLP representa também o reforço da nossa identidade e a incessante e sempre inacabada procura de uma profissionalidade a construir no espaço dos países de língua portuguesa. Caros companheiros e companheiras, este vosso Congresso é um momento privilegiado para uma profunda troca de ideias e, particularmente, para a definição de legítimas aspirações e reivindicações num mundo em vertiginosa mudança, seja ao nível geoestratégico, digital ou ambiental, entre outros. Assim, o contexto sociopolítico em que nos movimentamos, nacional e internacionalmente, é difícil e exige-nos resiliência, eficácia, participação, unidade e lucidez necessária, que implica, obviamente, estudar e analisar a realidade que nos interpela. Estas premissas, consideramos-las a cola imprescindível para a ação sindical e, desta forma, podermos avançar na resolução de velhos problemas e agarrarmos os novos desafios que necessitam de respostas urgentes, mas os quais o poder político teima em aligeirar ou mesmo ignorar. A CPLP Sindical da Educação e as suas organizações membro quer aqui reafirmar a sua solidariedade e apoio de forma total e inequívoca à luta por melhores condições de trabalho e dignificação social que nos tem fortemente mobilizado. Companheiros, este belo espaço em que nos encontramos tem uma carga simbólica incontornável para a CPLP Sindical da Educação. Foi precisamente aqui, há 5 anos atrás, durante o Congresso da FNE, que nos reunimos e decidimos criar uma estrutura, ou seja, a estrutura que hoje somos. tal como em 2018 e paralelamente a este Congresso, a CPLP sindical irá trabalhar em Assembleia Sindical Extraordinária e desde já poder informar que em outubro deste ano iremos realizar o nosso primeiro Congresso que se irá realizar em Amarante, Portugal, e que inevitavelmente irá agarrar e apoiar a luta que por cá estiver no momento. O nosso lema, inovar, intervir, fortalecer, sindicalismo e educação na lusofonia, será o nosso lema, a nossa consigna. Será um momento histórico para o sindicalismo dos profissionais da educação e um momento alto de unidade e de afirmação das nossas convicções e organizações sindicais no espaço da lusofonia. Um congresso que só agora vai ser possível realizar, não só devido à enorme solidariedade interna e externa existente para com a CPLP Sindical de Educação, mas também ao especial empenho nos últimos anos da FNE, na pessoa do companheiro Pedro Barreiros, a quem deixo aqui o meu reconhecimento pessoal e enquanto secretário-geral pela solidariedade, lealdade e respeito com que sempre trabalhamos. Foram 7 anos de difícil e exigente trabalho político-sindical. A ele e na sua pessoa, o meu obrigado a todos vós. Obrigado pela vossa atenção, parabéns pelos 40 anos da FNE, a todos um bom congresso, são os votos da CPLP Sindical da Educação e, como costumamos dizer, da CPLP Sindical da Educação, estamos juntos. Obrigado.
Temos ainda o prazer de transmitir a mensagem de Susan Flocken, diretora europeia do Comitê Sindical Europeu da Educação.
Dear Joe, dear colleagues, thank you for inviting me to your Congress. I would love to have been with you in Aveiro for the FNE Congress, but I'm on my way to Berlin, where the European Trade Union Confederation will be holding its Congress. I greet you on behalf of the European Trade Union Committee for Education and its 127 member organizations in Europe. That is 11 million teachers at all levels of education, from early childhood education to primary and secondary education, vocational education and training, and higher education and research. FNE and its affiliates are great supporters to the work at European level, and I sincerely thank you for your strong commitment and engagement in the work of XIII. Your contribution makes a change and is well received in Brussels and across Europe. Thank you. Your Congress title, Towards Dignified, Valued and Attractive Careers for Quality Education, is very timely. We all know how important and decisive quality education is for today's students, the citizens of the future. I want to thank all teachers, lecturers, trainers and other education professionals who are delivering quality education every day, every week, every year to students and young people. They make a difference as they inspire young people, motivate them to be curious and creative, and prepare them for their future life. Yet, we are also all well aware how little governments in Europe do to promote this important profession, to support the teachers and the learners in a world that faces huge challenges and changes. There is, on the one side, the deep social and economic divide, further exacerbated through inflation, steep energy and food prices, demographic trends, migration, digitalization, the availability of affordable housing, and on the other side, as young people are calling us to take action, environmental challenges, and the need to find sustainable solutions to address climate change. Austerity measures and budget cuts across Europe have led to severely underfunded education systems. Teachers, lecturers, trainers and other education personnel are not receiving the salaries, pensions, benefits and working conditions they deserve. Education infrastructure is outdated and mal-maintained. Initial teacher training and continuous professional development are not well supported and not adapted to the professional needs of teachers. On top, the workload entails increasingly more bureaucratic tasks and actual teaching and working hours seem to be ever expanding. In short, the teaching profession has become an unattractive profession, where teachers do not remain long in the profession or leave prematurely before reaching retirement age. Together with democratic changes, there is a serious teacher shortage in Europe, and Portugal is amongst the countries facing the biggest challenges. Teaching is more than passing on knowledge. It is about lifelong learning and promoting individual skills and competences. And it takes quality teachers and quality school leaders to entice young people to discover their skills and inspire them to reach higher, have confidence in themselves and trust. Quality education is based on quality teaching professionals, and in order to attract them to the profession, education employers and authorities need to take effective actions to ensure a good working environment, sustainable working conditions, and to promote teachers' physical and mental well-being. Occupational health and safety and work-life balance are important factors next to inclusive, sustainable and decent workplaces for an attractive teaching profession. Joining you in February this year for the demonstration for a dignified, valued and attractive teaching profession, I was impressed to see how many teachers and other education professionals had followed the call of the education trade unions to express their anger and disappointment about the Portuguese government in how little teachers are valued and how poorly public education is funded. Indeed, colleagues, the European education trade union movement stands with you in Portugal in your demand for fair and rewarding pay and attractive teaching profession. You deserve to be heard because teachers matter, and they deserve decent salaries and pensions respecting equal pay for work of equal value. In many European countries, governments seek to replace public funding of education through privatization and commercialization of education, either hidden, as parents are asked to step in, or openly with funding schemes. In XIII, we have a clear answer. Education is a public good and a human right. Education is not a commodity. We need to promote and call on governments for a meaningful and effective social dialogue where trade unions are respected as equal partners and as the representative voice of teachers, being not only the defenders of decent working conditions and equal pay, but also the professional experts regarding the content of education. A dialogue built on mutual trust that teachers do their job well without being constantly assessed and evaluated, where teachers are supported because they have the professional autonomy to choose the teaching approach that fits their students' needs best. In social dialogue at national level, as well as in collaborative and collegial leadership in education institutions. This is about a teaching profession that is attractive because the working conditions appeal to incoming teachers and teachers who have been in the profession for many years to remain in the profession until retirement. Challenging, yes, but also rewarding. In Portugal and across Europe, the socio-economic gap is growing and more people feel left behind, neglected and marginalized in our society. Poverty is rising. According to the European Fundamental Rights Agency, almost 25 million children under 18 are at risk of poverty or social exclusion in the EU. At the same time, nationalist, extremist, populist and separatist movements are on the rise all across the world and in Europe. The growing diversity in society is misused by right-wing populists to create gaps, often built on fake news and defamation. Among the most prominent examples in the world are Trump with his America First attitude, or the likes of Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, followed by Meloni, Orban, Erdogan, and others in Europe for whom trade unions and civil society are just a nuisance. This leads me to another topic that I wish to address: the war that is raging in the Ukraine, brought about by Putin, and the injustifiable attack by Russia on the sovereign state of Ukraine. We absolutely condemn this attack, and in XIII, together with the colleagues from FNE, we express our strong solidarity with our Ukrainian colleagues as we continue our support for them. Colleagues, we must not give in to anti-democratic policies. We must stand together for quality education and a democratic and sustainable future, built on democratic citizenship and young people who are able to think and analyze critically. This year, there are parliamentary elections in Portugal. And as we draw our vision of education in Europe together, I call on you to support the XIII campaign for the attractiveness of the teaching profession, built on 10 key action points to raise the status and improve the attractiveness of the teaching profession for the future of Europe with teachers. Because teachers matter and deserve to be respected. Because young people matter and are the future of this country and of Europe. Because together we are strong. In solidarity.
Temos também o prazer de transmitir a mensagem de David Edwards, secretário-geral da Internacional da Educação.
Dear João, dear colleagues, it is a pleasure to address you today and bring solidarity greetings from your brothers and sisters in Education International. 383 education unions in 178 countries and their 32 million members are standing behind and beside you for dignified, valued, and attractive careers for quality education. Millions of your fellow professionals around the world know your struggle. Globally, as a profession, we are feeling and seeing the impact of the teacher shortage, and we know quality education for all is at stake. We know a just future for all is at stake. Back in 2016, the United Nations estimated that the world needed 69 million more teachers to achieve quality education for all by 2030. While this crisis is playing out in many countries, in Portugal, it has become acute. In the first few months of this year alone, 1,300 teachers retired from Portuguese classrooms. More than 3,500 are expected to retire just this year. Portugal stands to lose over 20,000 teachers to retirement by the end of the decade. And there are simply not enough new teachers to replace them. Teacher training courses are attracting fewer and fewer students, and young teachers are leaving the profession. And it's easy to see why. For decades, the government has undervalued and underpaid teachers. Even now, they're trying to solve the problem by bringing unqualified teachers into the classroom, with little regard for the quality of education delivered. But we know better. We know that teachers are the single most important factor for quality education, and we are not willing to compromise on quality. Across Portugal, teachers are mobilizing to call attention to the dire situation of the profession and education. Your mobilization is remarkable, and it is necessary. Your call for a profound change in government policies is echoed around the world. A better deal for teachers is a better deal for students, for families, and for nations. This is the social contract that you are shaping. The beating heart of successful education systems is a core of well-qualified, well-resourced, and well-paid teachers and education workers. Teachers must be recognized as the key partners for transforming education systems, and they must be involved in policy planning, collaboration between governments and education unions. And yes, this includes the right to freedom of association and collective bargaining for all educators. Education status is a national bellwether. It tells us most precisely the prospects for children, the health status of the population, the income and civil rights of women, the likelihood of innovation and entrepreneurship, and a country's ability to respond and adapt to crises, including conflict, climate change, and natural disasters. Today, the resources necessary for a functioning public sector to meet the fundamental needs of the people are scarce and declining. Education system resources have fallen in 65% of low and middle income countries, and in 33% of upper middle and high income countries since the start of the pandemic. The solution to the shortfall is clear. We need to mobilize, to join our colleagues and our communities to connect the crisis in education funding to the sustainable world we want to create. And that mobilization is well underway in the Go Public Fund Education campaign, launched earlier this year by Education International and our member organizations, including FNE. This global campaign to fund public education and the teaching profession unites us all in the fight to resource the public sector for a quality education for all. To get there, international financing institutions like the World Bank and the IMF need to be educated about the new social contract. Large corporations and wealthy individuals can no longer be allowed to use the financial system for speculation and short-term profit-making while raising prices, hiding assets, and undermining state revenue collection. Billions in uncollected taxes must be brought out of hiding for investments in the public good, like public education, to build economies that provide sustainable and broad-based growth. Colleagues, there are no shortcuts to strong quality education systems for all. Investing in teachers and education workers, investing in public education is the only way. The good news is that in the wake of COVID-19, the world is waking up to this reality. Last September at the Transforming Education Summit, the United Nations responded to our call and announced the creation of a high-level panel on the teaching profession that will focus on addressing the teacher shortage globally. Education International is on this panel, representing our profession. We will make sure your voice is heard, that your realities and concerns inform the recommendations of the panel, and that governments are pushed in the right direction. Our mobilization at the local, regional, national, and international levels is critical. We must raise our voices and call on governments to respect teachers, value teachers, and pay teachers so that they can deliver every student's fundamental right to quality education. Go Public Fund Education will support you as you organize to improve pay, working conditions, and ensure the respect your members deserve. Your mission is our mission. Teachers all over the world are with you, and together we will achieve the fundamental change our profession, our students, and our societies need. You won't give up. We will.